Can't start. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw NBA podcast. And we got a nice array of topics to talk about this evening. I've got my man, DJ Gonzo Star, with us tonight. What's up, Gonzo?
What's going on? How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm good. And we got Pete Toll back with us again. How are you doing, Pete?
Oh, good, Matt. Glad to be on here, man.
Yes. And our guy Mike Skills should be popping in at some time. I'm not sure when, but he should be popping in here. I gotta wait. I gotta hold off on our Bulls talk till he gets in here. But I think we're gonna start off with Pete's Philadelphia 76ers. Since the Jahlil Okafor trade, they're 1-7. Pete, what's going on with this team?
Injuries, man. Look at Joel Embiid. He played in the Oklahoma City overtime thriller, and you could see he was wincing a good bit. His back was not looking very good. He looked stiff, not being able to, move around as well as he could. And now they're being precautious with the load management and just making sure that his back is healthy, because the ultimate goal is they want to sneak into the playoffs and make it there. But then you had guys like Covington jumping out of bounds, getting hurt. And then Redick, of course, missed the last 17 minutes of the last game, is not going to play in the next two games. Hopefully both Embiid and Redick are back for Christmas Day, and the Sixers can get back on the winning path. But right now you're seeing basically teams being able to force Simmons to kind of be the focal point. And right now he's reluctant to shoot beyond 10 feet, more or less. And that's kind of hampering things because he doesn't have anybody to spread the floor. Embiid spreads the floor for him. Redick, of course, you've got Covington there. And then your mixture of bench guys in Luwawu, Cabarrot. I mean, he's struggling to shoot the ball. So then you're relying on TJ McConnell to make plays. You're relying on Jared Bayless, who's kind of come up short, in certain areas. So right now it's looking like it's gonna take a while for the Sixers to get to prominence in the Eastern Conference.
What about you, Gonzo? What are you saying with this Philadelphia team?
I'm gonna piggyback off of Pete for a minute. The injuries, that's one, and I think because the last few Philadelphia games I've seen, I don't like the way they play in the fourth quarter. I think they take a lot of ill-advised shots. I don't like the fact that I like Ben Simmons. I think he's a very good player and will be a great player. Like Pete says, anything outside of 10 feet, he's not taking. I want to see more aggressiveness from him. But mainly it's the injuries right now. Like I said, Embiid's back. Covington. I'm still waiting on Markelle Fultz. I haven't heard anything about him. I don't even know is he coming back this season?
I think they'll play him. They're not in tank mode. They'll play him if he's ready, I think.
He's progressing, but they're not yet to the point where he's up to full game shape and things like that. But they say that his shoulder is healed, so that's a good sign. I would say, if it was my guess, sometime between mid to late January, he'll probably come back. Just my guess. I haven't heard that, but just my guess.
Okay. Absolutely.
So I think those are the two main things. It's just the bad fourth quarter play, but most importantly, it's definitely injuries. Because they were playing way better than what they are right now at this point.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I've noticed in these 7 games, I know Covington only missed a few. He's not shooting the ball as well. Had a better shooting game tonight, though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good sign. But Covington has not been hitting the shots he was hitting earlier on when the Sixers were having success. And just turnovers. You can't lead the league in turnovers and be a successful team. And teams are just walling Ben Simmons off. They're not going to let him get to the basket. They're going to play off. And if guys aren't going to make shots, they're in trouble. And like you said, Jared Bayless is hit or miss.
And they're finding out with Simmons that they can foul him, of course. Mm-hmm. He's not able to hit free throws. So, of course, you're going to foul him. Same kind of thing that Lonzo has. He can't hit free throws either. So foul him, force him to hit those free throws. And unfortunately right now, Simmons, all he has is that, kind of drive and hook or use his speed and length to get all the way to the rim. And if you're closing that out, he's obviously not going to take a 15-footer, let alone try to take a three-pointer. So you're really limited. So you're forcing guys like Amir Johnson to have to score and in certain situations. And that's just not something you want if you're the Sixers. So
Oh, perfect timing, Mike, because we're going to get on to our second topic now, the Chicago Bulls. I know you're ready for this one, Mike.
Yeah.
I had to.
Well,
Hey.
hello, y'all. I know it's been a long time.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
yes.
Glad to see you back
Yes.
on.
So,
man, it's good to be back.
yes, absolutely. So obviously we know the Bulls had they were 7-0 with Nico Mirotic in the lineup.
Yeah.
Lose a tough one tonight. They lost a tough one tonight to Cleveland. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of it, Mike. But what are you noticing from your Bulls, man, during this 7-game win streak?
The thing I've noticed about the Bulls is that everything they should have done last year, which was long overdue, is happening. And it's like you even look at the acquisition of Chris Dunn. The entire squad is full of young guys that were studs coming out of college, and they just needed playing time. Now they're getting the minutes. It's crazy how it had to happen. The whole Butler saga, the whole Wade fiasco and all of that, and then even the punching Nico's face broken and suspension. However, I think these guys are really competitive. I think these guys really want to get after it. And I think they took it personal the first month of the season when they were getting obliterated. I remember I was on the phone with Byron one night. I got home, I turned on the Warriors Bulls, and I was like, oh, okay, Warriors on, Bulls. And I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I'm just scratching my head like, is that a 1 in front of there? Wait. They're up by how much? And so it was just, honestly, I gave up on them like Thanksgiving. I was like, nah, this season is trash. Lottery, 20 games, win max, and now they're like halfway to 20. So I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing. They just got playing time now. They're starting to gel together. Chris Dunn wasn't getting the minutes in Minnesota. He was that squad was deep. And it was kind of hard for him to get into the rotation. The same thing with Valentine. He was behind Jimmy and Wade last year. And I think he was even behind Nico, too, who was behind them, too. So
he was behind Doug at the beginning of the season when Doug was there.
Exactly. And so it's a thing where finally these guys are getting some playing time. They're getting to develop. And so we're starting to see what they're capable of. But it's still too early to tell. I'm not jumping back on board like, oh, man, the Bulls are amazing.
They're not going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
This team ain't going to the playoffs. It's good to see them competitive, though. Gonzo, what about you?
I think the Chicago Bulls whole organization are a bunch of idiots. Right now, they should be doing a tanking job. Look, we have to do what Philly did. Trust the process. We need to lose right now. Because first of all, losing would help us clean house. It would help us probably get rid of Paxson and Foreman. Probably help us get rid of Hoiberg and just start over from scratch. I'll get all the way to the end of the line and just start over. Because winning right now is not helping us.
Yes. What about Lopez and Nico? Obviously Lopez isn't in the future for him because he's older. But what about Nico? What should they do with Nico? Because his trade value is going up now.
Trade him while he's hot. Look,
nice.
you have to sustain this choke job. Let's get this over with, please.
Trade him for a late first round pick. Go ahead, Pete.
His contract is tradable on January 15th. He basically has the ability to veto any trade. So I think that their best bet, just as Gonzo said, strike while the iron's hot, because nobody thought that Nico was going to be able to kind of have the impact that he was going to have this year because he's been inconsistent. And even Jerry Reinsdorf came out in his interview the other day and said, Nico's finally playing to what we thought he could be. But then you got to look at guys like David Nwaba, his defense, and just hustle and things like that. Nobody thought that David Nwaba, who played sparingly for the Lakers last year, was going to be anything for the team. And he's turned out really well. Antonio Blakeney out of the G League, easily should have a NBA contract right now. Guys like Justin Holiday, playing well. So it's a mix of guys. So you got to give credit to Fred Hoiberg for kind of developing some of the young guys in the system finally, because I think, including myself, a lot of NBA fans gave Hoiberg a lot of flack because he wasn't able to coach the guys last year. He looked outmanned for the last few years as a coach. And getting what you can out of what you have gotten out of Chris Dunn has been really good because he can knock down the three now. Looks like a good NBA point guard. He already had the defensive instincts. Now you add the offense in. You have your point guard of the future. It's definitely not going to be Cameron Payne. And then you've got Zach LaVine coming back. That's a good 18 to 20 points scoring right there. Then you've got Lauri Markkanen, of course. So now really looking ahead, you get a big man in this draft, or looking at even further with free agency and the amount of money they're going to be able to spend. Chicago's still a destination that people remember from the Jordan days, that if you can get the right nucleus of young players kind of built up, kind of like Philly, people want to go there. And, it may not be this season that you get a marquee name, but maybe by next season if they keep improving. But then you flip it back to what Gonzo said. Are they really going to want to win? Because right now they don't want to be in mediocrity. You don't want to end up winning 33, 34 games and possibly be in, the 9th or 10th seed in the East. You want to kind of be at the bottom and get a high pick that you can in the draft. So I think you're going to see, it's all fine and well that this run has been inspiring for Bulls fans, but I think you're going to see the mandate from up above, upper management to say, all right, pump the brakes. Let's start playing Cristiano Felicio. Let's play some Paul Zipser. Let's get Cameron Payne out there if he can get healthy. Let's lose some games.
We'll give Grant some rest, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what's going to happen. It makes the most sense. I mean, unless they can somehow tear through the league and somehow make the playoffs, but there's probably a 0.1% chance that happens.
Unless Markkanen turns into Dirk tomorrow.
No, right? I don't see that.
Exactly. Everybody's made some outstanding points. Two things I've noticed as far as the way they're playing better defense. Obviously, Pete mentioned it with guys like Nwaba, Chris Dunn. We know Lopez will play some. Even Nico's played a little defense. We saw it last night? I can't remember what day. I think it was last night.
Last night, they played two in a row.
And then against Philly, he was making defensive plays. So you're seeing the defense, and then they're still taking a lot of threes, but I think they're taking better threes. They were just jacking threes up out of nowhere early in the season, and you know this, Mike. Stacey King doesn't like that. All the dumb threes.
No. Right.
Stacey King's going to let you know, but he's not saying it now. They're taking smarter shots, and the field goal percentage shows it all. And they played Cleveland tough tonight. They lose by I think 3 points. Yeah. I think it was 112-109. Markkanen goes for I think 25. So. I think you're right though, Pete. I think we may get a lineup replacement. Let's get Zipser in there. Let's get Felicio. Let's get Cameron Payne some minutes. Let's sit the other guys and give them some rest, right?
Right.
Yeah. The funny thing is, yesterday I was at the airport and I had a conversation with somebody from Idaho, of all places, and she was a lifelong Bulls fan, and we had this discussion and we hit it right on the head. It's like this streak is amazing. At the same time, it's a little bit of fool's gold. I mean, they played the Cavaliers well tonight and very well.
They beat Milwaukee the other day. Who else did they really beat? Philadelphia is a good win, I think. I'd consider that a good win.
I think Philadelphia was a trap game. I think that was really I'm not going to take any credit away from the Bulls winning that streak, 7 straight. I'm just looking at it on the big term. If they beat Boston, Golden State, Houston, a part of that 7, I'd be like, okay.
They got Boston, but in defense of Boston, there was no Kyrie Irving that game.
Right. So, that's like Philly. They beat Philly without Embiid. So
yeah. But exactly. Mike, I think he's onto something. Every game you play against the Bulls is a trap game, though. Right. Because that's really the game on the schedule. Oh, we can sit our best player. We'll that's what Philly was thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
We can sit, even if it be.
Yeah,
we're going to beat these guys.
You see it all the time. I saw tonight, last night with the Rockets and Lakers, I had a feeling that was a trap game because it was like, we're on this streak. We're playing well. We got Chris Paul back. We're running, gunning. And, these young Lakers come in, they'll run with us for a couple quarters. And I think it's the exact same thing. People play Chicago, and they're just like, oh, man, we're going to wipe the floor with these guys. And
Hey,
before you know it, it's the game.
You notice Mike Skills with the perfect segue.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the Lakers.
Yep.
We got to talk we got to talk Lonzo Ball. You know, as Byron has called him a lot of this year, Lonzo bust.
No,
I told Byron, this is what I told Byron. I said, Byron, it's 25 games in the season. He just turned, 19, 20 years, just turned 20.
Years old,
yeah, you got to give him a chance.
Right.
But over the last 4 games, he's averaging almost 16 points a game. You know, he's getting the rebounds, the assists. He shot the 3. Going into last night, he was 9 out of his last 20. I think he went 2 for 6 last night. So, he looks to be improving. It doesn't look like he's playing with that rain cloud over him all the time like it was early in the season, Pete. What are you noticing from Lonzo Ball?
Well, you and I, talk pretty regularly, texting back and forth when games are on and stuff like that. And we're obviously, watching a bunch of Sixers games and watching the Lakers. With Lonzo, it's about confidence. The game is finally slowing down for him.
Yes.
Because obviously at the point guard position, it's a hardest position in the NBA to master. Well, the way he played, obviously Chino Hills run up and down, get guys the ball. Same thing at UCLA. Run up and down. Well, with the Lakers, he had to figure out, he figured out pretty quick, well, damn, I don't have anybody that can shoot from the outside. So, let me change some things up. And it's finally slowed down for him. He's able to see the floor. Basically, if you look at the numbers, he's averaging 9.6 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. His rebounding numbers are phenomenal. The way he's able to get it. And you notice he gets the rebound now. He pushes the floor, pushes the pace. And you've got guys like Kuzma, obviously, excelling as a rookie. And then you've got like Julius Randle's played better this year. Ingram is coming into his own, even though I still think Ingram's a little bit overrated. But overall, he's comfortable in his spots. Now Lonzo just has to learn, like at the end of the game that they lost last game, where he had that layup that was blocked. I feel like if he had just stopped for a fraction of a second changing speeds, he would have had that layup. But he went full throttle. Not being in that situation very often in the NBA as a rookie, he'll learn for the next time. And it's all about building for the future. Like, LeBron wasn't LeBron James, in the first 40 games as far as, dominating the league. But I don't think that it's fair to put the expectations of LeBron's going to be Lonzo's going to be a franchise savior either, because Lonzo's game is get everybody else better before himself. So he has to learn in his own mindset, let me be aggressive here, let me be aggressive there. And now that he's learning that, I think things are finally starting to get better for him.
Gonzo, what about you?
Lonzo. I think Lonzo has improved as of lately. I see that now when he's shooting his 3, he's not like leaning into it as much now. He's kind of like, it's almost like his he's standing up a little more straight shooting his 3. So it looks like he has more balance on the jump shot. So it seems to be improving in that department. On the fast break, he seems to be getting a little more aggressive. I would like to see him use his jumping ability and kind of dunk the ball a little more instead of trying to make. But I mean, he is going to the rim aggressively. Like I said, he's actually an excellent rebounder to be playing the point guard position. And like I said, he knows how to push the ball, and it does help when you have guys like Ingram and Kuzma on the team. I want to see them on the floor more. Ingram, Kuzma, and Ball on the floor more in fourth quarters. I want to see less of Julius Randle. If I'm the Lakers organization, I want to FedEx Julius Randle overnight to anybody who's willing to take him.
No, he's played decent though.
But he's made some key dumb decisions on fast breaks that were kind of costly in about 3 or 4 of those games.
Yeah,
especially if you've seen the game against I think it was a game against Philadelphia on 2 fast break. You had Kuzma on your left, you had Ingram on your right, and Julius Randle's pushing the break. And Philly has one guy back, and I think it might have been Rashawn Holmes. And Julius Randle decides to go on a fast break and take it to Rashawn Holmes.
Gets the charge stall.
And
Totally.
and you saw the look on Kuzma and Ingram's face, like, what is this dude doing?
Hey, it's that
They were
those
like
are those Blake
frustrated.
Griffin decisions.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but like I said, the Lakers right now they look like they're heading in the right direction. I mean, Ingram has gotten considerably better. I still question his strength though, because a lot of times he's driving to the basket. If it's a much stronger defender sticking him, it's almost like he bounces back to the three-point line because he's so weak.
Well, he weighs 190 pounds soaking wet, so I mean,
Yeah, so that kind of sucks, especially when you're like 6'11".
yeah,
That doesn't. That's what makes it kind of bad, But like I said, Lonzo and Kuzma, I think that you have something to build around, and you can actually add other superstars with those two guys. Lonzo's going to be fine. I don't expect. I think the biggest problem is that we've bought more into LeVar's hype, and I'm not mad at LeVar because I understand you have to market your sons, you have to market your brand. So I'm not upset with what he's doing. I think that people have expected a superstar expectation on Lonzo because of what his father has said. Just let him play and just let him be a very good NBA player. He can still be potentially a Hall of Famer. You just have to give him time right now. Don't rush. Do not rush it. He's a point guard. He has to kind of know everybody on the court. He has to kind of know get the feel for everybody's spots on the court. It's not always instantaneous with everybody. Every point guard that comes to the league, they're just gonna know where everybody's gonna be at. It's one of these positions. Point guard is one of those positions you really have to learn. Magic Johnson is one of those rare few who can come into the league and set the league on fire. You have rare cases, but Lonzo's going to be fine. Give him time.
Yes. Mike, what are you seeing with Lonzo Ball?
Honestly, I think all of you guys hit it on the head. I mean, it's only been 24, 25 games into the season, so he needs that time to adjust. I mean, the speed of the game is completely different from college. The way he's accustomed to playing, I thought that was a great point. And also, yeah, he has that umbrella over him of all that hype, of everything, every game. I felt like he was thinking too much early on. And I think the turning point in this season might have been the Philly game. Because it seemed like in that game, he just cleared out, he just got rid of all the noise and just focused on playing and just got back to being him. And I know Magic has been encouraging them from the front office saying, hey, you guys need to push the ball. You guys need to get out on the open floor and run like Showtime. And why not? You got all these young, quick, high flyers. I mean, if I had Larry Nance on my team, every time I get the rebound, I'm pushing the break because guys are now worried about being posterized. Then you got Ingram on the other wing. You have Clarkson running in. I mean, you have a nice little squad around him of guys that can move. And I know Julius Randle's days are numbered. I know Clarkson's days are probably numbered as well. I think they're going to move those guys. Kuzma is definitely a stud. I just feel like these guys are now starting to just forget all the outside stuff. Stop reading the paper or not reading the paper. Stop reading the tweets. Stop looking at Bleacher Report and listening to Instagram and whatever.
That's right, Mike. Who reads the newspaper anymore?
Yeah, I had to catch myself for a second. And they really just, it seemed like Lonzo got out of his head, and I think Ingram got out of his head from last year. Kuzma just looks like he's playing. Like, he doesn't seem like, he's affected by a lot of hype. If anything, I think he's benefited by flying under the radar.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he was a stud. A lot of people scouted him well. At the same time, with Lonzo on the team, he's the focal point. He's like, cool, I can just do my thing.
Right.
So he's going to develop a shot. His shot is going to get better. And I don't think he needs to change his shot. I just think he needs to do what he's doing now with the better shot selection. Like at the end of that Philly game, he had that wide open three, pump fake, drive to the cup, and then find the open man for the three outside, Brandon Ingram. That's something decision-making. Like, that's something that I wish Russ could do in the last 2 minutes of the game. And I'm going to get to that later, but that's what I feel a lot of great players do. A lot of great players try to do hero ball, and I think Lonzo stopped trying to be hero, stop, listening to all the hype. It's like, let me just go out and play. Let me get people involved. And I think the most important thing is he's shown how good of a passer he is, how he can find guys, set them up for their shot. Like,
His IQ is phenomenal
Yeah,
for being a 20-year-old.
That stuff is invaluable. There are some players that have been in the league 10 years that don't know guys on their team where they like the ball. You know,
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, if you have a guy on your team that's a 15 to 20-foot shooter, and you know he shoots well on the left arc or the left free throw line extended, why are you giving it to him in the post on the right side? Or why are you know what I'm saying? And he's finding guys to where not only he's getting them off and getting them in scoring, but he's putting them in positions to score. He's like, oh, that's my guy. That's his shot. Got it.
Him and Kuzma have tremendous chemistry. Same with Ivica Zubac. Lonzo had great chemistry with him in summer league as well, although he's not playing. But
it is amazing to watch those. And I got a backdoor what you're saying and backdoor what Gonzo said. Like those three guys in the lineup, Kuzma, Ingram, and Lonzo together. Those three. They just look like they get each other. They just look like it's like unspoken. It's like I know where you're gonna be, you know where I'm gonna be, and the ball movement with them is beautiful. I have to admit, with a young team, you normally don't see ball movement like that.
I mean, I think what were they like? Damn near last in assists last year, and this year I think they're 9th as a team. Yeah. So I mean, let's be honest, that's all Lonzo Ball.
Right.
It is.
That's all him.
Look what he did at UCLA, changed that team around, in an instant. And the thing about it is, like Kuzma. In college, I mean, he wasn't that good of a 3-point shooter. I mean, he could knock it down, but he wasn't, anything, to write home about. That's why he lasted till 27th. And you're always going to have guys that, they're like, oh, how did this guy last so long? But I think that Lonzo's willingness to push the break and then Kuzma just aggressive, like aggressive has rubbed off on Brandon Ingram as well. Because now Ingram, you can see he's not like a deer caught in headlights. He's like, all right.
Attack mode.
Yeah, he's like, I got to drive. I'm not settling for this 3-point shot that's not going to go in. Like he's able to pick his spots. And the one thing that I think kind of mucks it up a little bit for the Lakers is I'd like to see different sub patterns from Luke Walton, because there's times where Lonzo's getting in a good rhythm. Then all of a sudden you see him pulled for Clarkson. And I'm like, this makes no sense. Like Lonzo had it going, like let him go.
Yeah.
And same thing like Gonzo was saying with Randall, like he'll come in at different times where it's like, all right, Larry Nance just had a highlight dunk and you just took him out to rest him. Now I know Nance has some freak injuries here and there, but you can't tell me that you wouldn't rather have Larry Nance than Julius Randle in that lineup.
One more thing. There's two things I have to add. And let's not make light of this. The Lakers are still very much capable of making it 8th seed in the West at the moment. They're only 4 games. They're only 4 games back from New Orleans. That's one. So that's a good sign for a young team to just come together this year with two additional rookie pieces, and they're like a heavy part of your offense. And they're only 4 games out of an 8th seed. That's one. Number 2, I have another problem with the Lakers. There's one other problem besides Julius Randle. Caldwell Pope. The other night, this dude was like 4 for 16 from 3. Like, who in the organization let Caldwell Pope shoot 16 threes? Like, seriously. Everybody in the organization, coaches, general managers, they all should have been in the locker room, laying against the wall, and just beat with wet towels. There's no reason that you let Caldwell Pope shoot 16 threes.
Man.
No, you just don't.
Hey, you know what they say?
You're
playing defense for us, so we're going to let you shoot threes.
Man, no, I don't care how many.
And his shot selection has been bad.
Yes.
If you watch the shot selection, it's just
he's not shooting open shots.
No.
And he's played on a 25-day prison work release.
Yeah, that's even more. Yeah.
So, he has to get an escort to the game each game,
and he can't play in the game Toronto or whatever. But even more so, like anything that's out of LA, he can't. He can't play in those games. But
so he can't play in road games,
right? And right now, the Lakers have the toughest part of their schedule they're going to have all season. So you may see them come on and get some upset wins come late February, March. I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs, but it's not out of the question that they win 35 games.
I told you when we did, like, I don't know if you were on that one. When we did our Lakers preview, my prediction was going into April, they're going to be in that hunt for the 8th seed. They're going to be close. Not necessarily make it, but they're going to be right there.
I mean, the Lakers, if you're a free agent, like, and I know LeBron's been thrown out there. I don't personally see LeBron going to the Lakers.
He's not going to go out west.
But I think you could see a guy like, Paul George going there,
Definitely.
Easily and fit in, because Paul George can fit in, defend. He can knock down the 3-point shot is what they need. And he has the length at 6'9".
You know how big their lineup would be? Because obviously you'd have a lineup of Lonzo, Paul George is probably your 2, Ingram can be your 3, and Kuzma the 4. You're looking at 6'7", and everybody's 6'7".
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good lineup. And then if they can develop like a Zubac, get him some reps instead of playing Bogut. Like, I know Luke Walton is pro Andrew Bogut, but I mean, he does not need to see the floor. I'm sorry. Like,
he sets good moving. He sets good moving screens, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, the game has passed him by. Like, same thing I said about
He's Nick Collison.
Yeah,
Is it time for Andrew Bogut to retire?
Yeah, man.
I mean, he's at the point where like the centers of his like play skill, like play type, is just getting to be more obsolete. That's what's wrong with Jahlil Okafor. Jahlil Okafor is crying and whining that Philly was this bad organization that basically didn't give him any playing time. Well, you're fat and you can't play defense. You can't rebound. You ISO on offense and do the same move. You grip the ball, you kind of wind it around in your one hand, and you go one-on-one face up. Like, people know what you're going to do. Like,
his moves were predictable. His conditioning was poor.
Yeah.
And his defense was non-existent.
Right. And you're going to sit there and trash Brett Brown, who kind of stuck up for you and things like that. And then you're on basically the center, what I call the center whisperer in Kenny Atkinson, and you still can't get playing time. That says a lot about you, and that says you're going to be in Europe in 2 years.
It really says it. I mean, I think he has a chance to go somewhere else, and get a fresh start. And
maybe our Bulls will take him, right?
I think so. I think the Bulls might take him. I mean,
Cristiano Felicio's still playing over him, so it doesn't matter. So, he's still going to be 4th string on the depth chart. So, I mean, Okafor, he's not going to go to any team.
He can't get consistent minutes over Felicio.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. And I stuck up for Okafor on Twitter and like, hey, I think this needs to be fair, give him a chance and all that stuff. But then you come out and you trash the organization. And it's just not. Yeah. Now, I understand his beef with Brian Colangelo, because I think Colangelo had some deals that he could have just dumped him and, called it a day. But at the end of the day, don't trash Brett Brown and say, well, I didn't really get a chance. Well, you got your entire rookie year to put up, good numbers, and then you decided to just not work out during the offseason when you were, after you got healthy from being hurt the year before,
right?
Weight, and you develop no desire to rebound. I don't care if you can't defend. Yeah. That's one thing, but you don't even try to rebound. Like, you have the Brooke Lopez-itis of I don't want to grab a rebound. I mean, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I think rebounding is desire.
And he can't shoot outside threes either.
It's not about height. It's about desire. Like, you have to want the ball, and he's one of the most apathetic players in the league right now. It's just every time I saw him play, and that's why he doesn't play. That's why he didn't play for the Sixers this year, was because last year I would see Embiid in the game, and I was like, this guy is a competitor. This guy he's trying to rebound. He's running the floor. He's trying to block shots. He's defending. He's finding open guys. And then you see Okafor come in the game, and he's like, okay, I'm going to go down on the block, pass me the ball. I'm going to dribble 4 or 5 times, make a pump fake, go the same way every time.
And he's going to put the ball in that one hand, right?
Yep. That's it every time.
And then on the defensive end, I'm going to do a vanishing act.
He's a turnstile.
Oh, man.
And real quick, I want to give a shout out to Orlando Tills in the chat room, Dara Olu. Hope I said that right. Mr. Raw Deal. Thanks, guys, for joining us. But Orlando's got a good point. He said that Jahlil Okafor can't get minutes over Jared Allen, whose play style is like Cristiano Felicio. Mm-hmm. And that's a good point. And you have to look at the situation of Okafor right now. Like, Jared Allen's their draft pick. They're going to want to develop him. Allen is right now coming off the bench behind Tyler Zeller. Tyler Zeller is like your 6th big man on a normal team. So that tells me all I need to know about where Okafor is, conditioning and things like that. Then you might as well flip-flop that trade and say Stauskas for Trevor Booker, because Stauskas put up 22 in his first game and is getting consistent rotation minutes right now, whereas Okafor just can't sniff the floor. So if Okafor doesn't wake up tomorrow and change some things, he's going to be out of the league. I mean, it's a fact.
He's going to be on that first flight back to Chicago.
Well, he's a dying breed. I mean, he can't Brook Lopez changed his game and is able to shoot. That's mostly what he does is shoot threes now.
Even Marc Gasol changed his game up.
Right. Yeah. And, you have to mix it up. And right now it's just not.
Unless you're Rudy Gobert, DeAndre Jordan at center, or Drummond, you better be able to shoot threes.
Right.
Yeah, you have to be a dominant force to be that type of center. Like, you can't just get out there and think you're going to impact the game if you don't rebound, you don't impose your will on both ends of the court, and you don't have you're not unstoppable as a scorer. He's very predictable. So,
right.
Yeah, he can't do that. I mean, the guys that you mentioned, DeAndre Jordan can't shoot free throws, but he's a hell of a defender and a rebounder.
Yeah,
and you can throw lobs to him. You can't throw a lob to Okafor, can you?
Okafor, man. If Okafor's IQ would know that a lob was being thrown for him, then that would be the first thing. Second thing, he'd have to be in condition enough to catch it.
And he's got to get off the ground first, right?
Exactly.
Oh, my
real quick, because we're talking about injuries, I just want to touch on. I know we didn't kind of plan on it, but I threw out to the chat room if they wanted to touch on anything. Orlando Till brought up Isaiah Thomas's comeback. What do you guys think of Isaiah coming back to the lineup? It looks like pretty soon. He was in the layup line tonight against the Bulls for the Cavaliers. Obviously, what do you think Isaiah's impact is going to be on this Cavaliers team?
Ooh, it's going to be tough at first. I think they're going to have to adjust to his game because we know how he likes to play. Very similar to Kyrie, but still, you're going to have to adjust. And I think it'll take some time. So I think we'll see Cleveland take a step back a little bit with the wins and the losses, and shoot, so I think that's going to be the biggest thing. But they'll adjust. I mean, he's going to add that extra score that they need to just get buckets, because you can't rely on a guy like D Wade at 36 years old to just get buckets for you, to be that second guy. And that's kind of what he is right now in a sense off that bench. But now you bring in Isaiah. But I think the biggest role adjustment also is going to be Kevin Love. Is he going to be that second guy? Is he going to go back to, being the third fiddle guy? How's that going to work? Because Kevin Love's playing pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Gonzo, you want to go? I'll let Gonzo, you go. What do you think of Isaiah?
Honestly, I don't really think it'll matter if he plays or if he does play. It's LeBron. They're in the East, and they're going to the finals.
Yeah.
There you go.
Skills.
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about him is that he gets back in, gets his legs underneath him, makes a full recovery first, because that hip, from what I've heard, it's been really nagging him in the offseason. It was much worse than the Cavaliers thought, which is why they went and got that extra pick. So I think the main thing is him getting on the floor, getting his legs underneath him, getting his conditioning up, because we all know practicing and shooting in the gym is not the same as game condition, game situations. So him coming back, I think they'll probably put him on after Christmas. I wouldn't put him out there on Christmas Day, going against going against the Warriors. But I would give him probably the game after that.
I think didn't they say January?
They said early January. They said the January, I think it was third matchup, something like that, is when he's looking to come back.
Yeah, I can see that because it's not a national televised game. It's not a big game because you're not playing against, basically everyone knows it's Warriors and Cavs conferences to lose.
Right.
So I think he just has to get healthy, come back, and it could be interesting. We don't know what he's going to look like with LeBron. We know what he did with Boston. He carried that team. Mm-hmm. Now he really doesn't have to carry a team, so it's going to be interesting for him to be that second, third option after having that almost that MVP-like season last year, because he put the Celtics on his back last year.
Right.
He pushed them. So I'm curious to see that. I also, while we're on Cavaliers, what happened to Derrick Rose? Did he retire?
Oh man,
Mike would have to bring Derrick Rose.
we need Mazik to come on and be the defender of Derrick Rose, because I think we're all gonna be on the side of, I think it's over for Rose.
Hey, it's best for the Cavs if he stays right where he's at.
I think so,
Yeah.
man, because he left the team. I know he was injured, and then I started reading stories and different
He
things.
went AWOL again.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, he's done.
Yeah.
He's done. And I don't think we'll find out what's really going on until they make the 30 for 30 10, 15 years from now. Like,
I
we
think
won't really know what's going on.
The big thing with Rose is mentally, like, his son is everything to him, which, should be as a parent. But right now it's, his son's in Chicago. He wants to be as close as he can. Mentally, the injuries that he's had, the nagging injuries, taking away some of the things that he normally can do as far as cutting, stopping and starting, put a big damper on his game. And so I think the frustrations there kind of boiled over. Then he has to look at, Derek needs to look at the market. Like, you're checking out on teams. This is the second time you've done it in 2 straight seasons that you've checked out on a team. What realistic team is going to take you on to say, we'll take a gamble to put you as a, forefront point guard, maybe not a starter, but a 6-man? They're not going to do it. They can't count on him. So you're going to take a veteran minimum contract and hope that you can stay healthy enough to keep your Adidas contract going, because you're going to get paid from that. So he's not going to be, broke as far as that goes. But I think his days as a consistent contributor are not there, because he doesn't pass well enough.
He can't
shoot from 3 well enough. So your game cannot adjust to those nagging injuries if you can't aggressively get to the hole, stop and start, change of speed, all the acrobatic things he did in his MVP season, or even, thereafter. All that is gone. So once you're robbed of those things, it's going to be tough. The same's going to go for a guy like a Westbrook way down the line. If you don't develop some kind of consistent shot, I mean, that's the way the NBA is going. It's going to be difficult.
They've got that out of control game. But here's the thing, Pete, I got to ask you this. So what's up with all these Derrick Rose defenders on Twitter that we see? They swear this guy's still an all-star. What's up?
I mean, it's the love.
Yeah.
Skills, you can probably say this most because you're Bulls fan, and Gonzo, I know you are too. Like,
it's really the disbelief of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about it while I was getting ready to log in, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, he's disappeared from the Cavaliers. Like, first of all, disappeared from the Knicks and the disarray they were in last year. A lot of people would give you a pass for that.
Yeah, I can't blame him for Phil Jackson.
But you disappear from LeBron James,
right?
The face of the league. If you can't get it together with LeBron on your team, it raises a lot of questions. And honestly, I've seen this a lot more in the NFL when there's like receivers or players that are somewhat like off the field problems or distractions, and then they go to the Patriots and the Patriots get rid of them. And it's like, once a great franchise or a great team or a great player gets rid of you, you're kind of like damaged goods. And I completely agree that his game has not evolved. He's limited by thinking he's going to get back to what he could do physically prior to all the injuries. And it's just not going to happen. Every now and then there's glimpses of him getting to the cup, getting his little floater, those little explosions.
Right.
But he doesn't have outside range. He doesn't pass well. He doesn't do a lot of things well that could extend his career. Like, I think a good example is Ron Harper. I remember Ron Harper in the while we're on the subject of the Bulls, he basically said Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen extended his career, because when he came to the Bulls in '95, he was riding the bench.
Right.
Like, you go back and look at the '95 roster, he's on there, but he's not in the game.
Right.
And he contemplated retiring because of all those knee injuries and those nagging surgeries and whatnot.
And he was nasty for the Cavs and the Clippers.
What's that?
He was nasty with the Cavs and the Clippers.
Yeah, he was. He was amazing. But when he lost his athleticism with all those knee injuries, he almost gave up. And when he got to Chicago and he got with Jordan Pippen, not only did he get his conditioning up and he got in the weight room, but then he evolved his game and became a defender. I mean, you look back at some of those finals games with him guarding Stockton, guarding, Hornacek around the perimeter, harassing Gary Payton and Hersey Hawkins, getting in Mark Jackson's face when he was on the Pacers, and, going out here and guarding all these small guards and all of these shooting guards and giving them trouble. He saved his career and then went to the Lakers and did it for a couple more years. So Rose is really at a crossroad. He's not going to get back to 2011. It was 6-7 years ago, but those days are behind him. He's got to get with it. He's got to get in where he fit in. And actually, being in Cleveland is the perfect place to do it because he is not the focal point. It's LeBron, and then LeBron. Dude, just get in there and do your thing. Sit behind, under the radar and expand your game, man.
And the thing about it is, if you look at the obviously teams for free agency in 2018, like the money's not there for most teams. So realistically, what's the market going to be for Derrick Rose other than being a third string point guard, maybe a backup?
Hey, what do you mean there is no market for him?
It's just not there because there's so many young guys that are getting better. You've got Trae Young in the draft. You've got Duvall for Duke in the draft. So, I mean, you've got not a lot of point guards coming in, but there's still options around the league that are better than Derrick Rose. So,
it's tons of options.
Yeah, and I don't know. But
I'd take a guy like Fred VanVleet over Derrick Rose.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, you look at the landscape. We're kind of coming into like a golden era or a new era, I should say, of point guards. You look across the board, every team, like in the West, if Derrick Rose was in the West, he wouldn't even be top 15, top 20, top 25, 30 point guard. Like there are some guys in the West that can't get in the All-Star game and they're studs.
Yep.
Mike Conley Jr. can't get an All-Star because he's behind Damian Lillard, CP3, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? Like he's behind so many people and he's amazing. He's great. So Rose is delusional if he thinks he's going to get that. Yeah, he's going in two sides. On the one hand, he thinks he's going to get back to it, but on the other hand, he's afraid to get injured again. So I understand why everyone's romanticizing Rose, but at some point you got to let it go, man. You just got to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gonzo, you got anything to add about Derrick Rose?
I think Derrick Rose is very fragile. I don't even think it's so much even that it's just injuries now. I think it's just Derrick Rose's mentality and his personality might be a tad bit fragile. Like I said, if you ever notice his interviews, especially being in Chicago, you see him a lot. He just doesn't seem very sure of himself. He just doesn't have a personality that's ready for criticism in the public eye. He doesn't have a lot of tough skin. And I think that's mainly his problem. I really don't think it's the injuries anymore. I think it's just he's built kind of weak. And not saying physically. I think he's built physically. I think he's built more mentally weak. And the criticism really puts a lot of damage on him. And it affects his game, and it affects like I said, his personality. And ultimately, I think that contributes to a little bit of affecting his health. I don't know. I just don't think Derrick Rose, he will never be the player that he once was. Like I said, I still think that he can be a decent player. It's just, can Derrick Rose do the things that most teams need the backup point guard to be? First of all, is he going to get people involved after the starter goes out? He's not the type of point guard. Can he knock down a three?
Nope.
No. He can't do that.
Can he defend?
So,
no.
Can he defend? No. So usually when you got your backup point guards, just look real quick at your backup point guards we have in the NBA. Some of the good ones. Terry Rozier for the Boston Celtics. He can knock down a three. He's not a bad defender.
Yep.
And he can pass the ball and get guys involved. Even Marcus Smart, good defender, can pass the ball. Not a great knockdown shooter, but he has 2 out of the 3. Derrick Rose is, like you said, not a good defender, not a good 3-point shooter, and he's not really getting people involved. He's more of a scoring point guard. And at 6'3", which he's listed at, he's probably like 6'1.5", 6'2". He's not going to do much damage in the paint as he once did before, because I mean he doesn't have that same athletic ability, and people can kind of guess his game, so
right.
It makes it easier for them to defend. So Derrick Rose is pretty much at an end for career wise, but like I said, later on in life, we will appreciate the Derrick Rose that we once had early on in Chicago, and ESPN would probably make a 30 for 30 about it.
Yeah. And the thing, I don't think he has the best IQ as far as on the floor. And, I might get knocked for saying that, but if you're an elite level player to where obviously he won MVP, you have to have that IQ of, okay, I have to adapt my game as I go along. And he's just not been willing to do that. So to me, seeing the floor, picking your spots is great. But if you don't develop for others and, at least try to semi work on a 3-point shot, I mean, he's not gonna have a suitor. Now, his name obviously is going to get him in a training camp. But whether he can stick and stay healthy, that's going to be the biggest question.
He can go play for the Sixers.
Yeah. I'm going to add something to that too. I'm going to add something what you said. And like you said, it's really his IQ. And this is the problem I've always had with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, he's 6'4", probably a legit 6'4", 6'5". For what I'm hearing, he's actually that tall. He's strong. He's athletic. He's fast. But with the decision that he makes, ultimately the guy's Frankenstein. I mean,
yeah.
He has all the size, strength, and speed, but if you don't change your IQ any, you'll never get to that championship level that you should be getting to, or you'll never be able to get better in your NBA game. Like I said again, let's look at all the good the so-called elite point guards in the NBA. Chris Paul was always a great passer. He could always shoot, but Chris Paul could get people involved.
Right.
He became even a better defender, in my opinion. Even Kyrie Irving. Let's go to Kyrie Irving for a minute. Always been known as a scorer. He always can shoot the three. He can always get to the basket. But even this year, he's improved his game. He's become a much better defender than he has in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Even himself, he's improved his game.
He's
so
adapted.
The elite guys find a way to adapt. That's one thing I respect about, like I respect about Kobe Bryant. A lot of people get on Kobe, and they'll say, "Well, Kobe wasn't. Kobe will never be like Mike." But let's be honest, he's probably the closest thing we ever had to Michael Jordan. But on top of all that, Kobe ultimately in the first 3 championships, he was a highlight reel waiting to happen.
Yeah.
The last 2 championship, Kobe, number 24, he became much more cerebral. He kind of learned the game a little better. He learned to pick his spots on the floor. He became a much better post-up guy. He became a much better positional defender, knowing how to position his feet and stay in front of a guy. He knew how to use his hands. Like he always developed his game, and even got better getting older. He got better. If it wasn't for injuries, Kobe Bryant could have still been the same Kobe Bryant. So the point I'm trying to make is all the greats always find a way to improve the game. LeBron James, say what you want to. I'm a Bulls fan, and I hate the guy. He's not in my top 5. And what? But the guy has improved his game.
Yes.
Every single year.
Every year.
I can't deny him that. And guess what? He's a great.
This is another perfect segue because we got to get to Kobe Bryant here. It's a good thing Gonzo brought that up. Obviously, we know he got his 2 numbers retired, but that's not what we're going to talk about.
Nope.
I'm going to go to what we're going to talk about is your favorite Kobe moment, like what, your favorite Kobe moment since he did get the jerseys retired. So I'm going to go to you first, Pete.
Obviously, you got to look at the 81. That's a known, known obviously thing. Killing Toronto, basically every defender that they could throw at him. There's nothing that anybody could do. But I think just watching his evolution, because in his first playoffs that he played, I was like, all right, he's looking good in spots, but then he's, kind of struggling in others. But for me, it'd be the 81. And then I think another one would be when I think it was trying to think what year it was with Michael Jordan. Was it 03? Michael Jordan's last year at the end of 03 was the last.
Yeah, 02-03, yeah.
Yeah, 02-03 when they went head to head, the final meeting. Basically, Kobe, I think, had 55 in that game. So it was kind of like the passing of the torch of Jordan to Kobe. And for me, that was like, all right, Kobe's kind of coming into this elite. That's kind of, to me, when it was that Mamba moment of, all right, I'm ready to take over. I'm pushing the throttle and things like that. And probably that would probably be, because I think 81 is the cliche that everybody can go with. But I think that game against Jordan at the end of 02-03, kind of was the eye opener for me.
Nice. What about you, Mike?
I think that's definitely up there. I kind of forgot about that moment for a second. Like, it was kind of pushed to the back of my mind, but that was really significant because that was when when people started to debate whose team it was. Because obviously Shaq was still in his prime, but he kept getting injured. He had more and more nagging injuries. Was coming back to camp out of shape and out of conditioning. And Kobe started carrying the team. I believe that was the year he had a bunch of like 40, 50-point explosions.
That was the year he had like 7 straight games where he had 40 or more, I think.
Yep.
Exactly. And I think one of the pivotal moments in his career was probably, I think it was 07 playoffs against Phoenix.
That was 06. Or what? 06? Are you talking about the one where he dunked on Nash?
I think that was the same series, and he hit.
That was 06.
He hit He hit the jumper off the jump ball to put him up.
Yeah, that was 06.
Yeah, and then
they played him in 07, but it wasn't anything to write home about. But it was 06 was the good one.
Yeah, and then they blew it, and he blew they blew the 3-1 lead, but that shot, like, he really carried the team, and I thought that was when he was starting to come into his own and starting to trust players a little bit. I mean, albeit they still had Smush Parker at the time and
Kwame Brown.
Oh. Yeah, they had a bunch of guys that.
They would have won that series if Kwame Brown doesn't jump at Tim Thomas's shot fake.
Yeah, but
that's what sent it to overtime. They had that game won.
But I started to see like him coming to his own, and like, because you could see that was the first time they made the playoffs post Shaq, because that 05 season was garbage. And so he made the playoff. He led that team to the playoffs without Shaq, and I thought that was pretty pivotal in his career. I think the other thing was 2010 when they had the rematch against Boston and that game 1 performance of him coming out just in the zone to the point where Chris Rock was talking to him, and he was just like, leave me the fuck alone. But he didn't even say it. He just, the look on his face, like, that was the beginning of the Kobe scowl, the Batman scowl, where he's like, oh, I'm the Dark Knight. And also that game 3, I think that's when that was like, so not only solidifying his legacy, but also redemption from 08. I think those are like my 2 if I had to put them on there.
Okay, nice. What about you, Gonzo?
I have 3. My first one, I'm going to say the 81-point game, obviously. My second highlight for Kobe that I will probably remember the most is, I think it was either 2000, 2001, when they played against the Spurs in the, I think, Western Conference. I don't know if it was the Western Conference Finals or it might have been the series before that, when Derek Fisher threw like the alley-oop to Kobe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and Kobe came right down the middle off of Derek Fisher alley-oop and slammed it on like everybody on San Antonio. That one. And I'm going to say his very last game. Look, that's a heck of a way to go out with the win and 60 plus points. Like, That's kind of a storybook ending. Not to mention, you already had 5 championships to go with that. Like that's an excellent way to go out.
Nice.
And I remember one pundit was like, "That's the most Kobe game ever. He scored 60 on like 20 or 40 shooting or whatever." I was just like, "Yes, Kobe gonna take a lot of shots. He gonna go down blazing."
What you got, Matt?
I've got a few. I would have said the 81, but it's obvious. And I actually watched it live when it happened on League Pass. So, I mean, clearly that's one of the best individual performance I've ever seen. But I'm gonna go second year Kobe against the Bulls when I think he got like 33 points at the United Center. Mike, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. When him and Michael were just going at it. So I kind of the opposite of yours, Pete, with old Michael and
yeah.
I went with old Mike, still old Michael, but
younger,
very younger old Michael and very young Kobe. And in his first All-Star game that same year, when he was getting all the dunks.
Yeah.
And then my third one is I went to a Seattle Supersonics game when I was in the Navy at Key Arena, and him and Ray Allen were going at it. It ended up going overtime, but I think Kobe finished with like 47, and Ray Allen had like 30, I think. But Ray Allen was getting him at first, but when it was win time, oh yeah, it was a wrap.
Stepped up, yeah.
Yep, and he was locking Ray Allen down in the overtime. It was a fantastic game.
The chat, Mr. Raw Deal says that Game 5 of the finals versus the Spurs, when Shaq fouled out, was one of his. And then, of course, Orlando Till said his favorite Kobe moment was 2009 Phoenix Sun series, where he dropped contested daggers in Grant Hill's face and made Alvin Gentry tap. And then he also said he remembered his reverse dunk on Christmas Day in 06. He said maybe 07 or 08 as his favorite Kobe highlight moment.
Nice. Oh, shoot. My highlight's when he dunked on Dwight Howard.
Ooh, Lord. That one, probably the one on the Hornets when he went down the lane, and I think he had just had knee surgery before the playoffs and just dunked on 2 people.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yao Ming in the first round. Man.
That's when everyone was going at Yao. Everyone wanted to dunk on Yao Ming.
Yeah. He's had a lot of beautiful moments, man. A lot of nice games. The one against Dallas, I think that's one of his more underrated games because he sat out the fourth quarter and he was absolutely killing them.
Yeah, when he had the 61 points.
Yeah, and I think he had 61 and Dallas only had like 62 at the end of that quarter.
No, hey, it was 61. It was Kobe 61, Dallas 60.
Yeah. So
he outscored Dallas by himself through 3 quarters.
And I remember that night, a lot of people were saying he's going to get 80 one day. And I was like, he's not going to get 80. And then like the next season, man, you see the game last night? I was like, what happened? Man, he had 81. I'm like, 81 what?
You remember the dunk on Ben Wallace?
Oh, yeah. In the preseason, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he crossed dude at the top which now is an illegal crossover.
Yeah. That's why Detroit had to win.
Hey, but you know what though? As good as that wasn't Ben Wallace though. That was young Ben Wallace. We didn't know who he was at that time.
Right.
Yeah, that was Bernard. That was Bernard Wallace.
That's right.
That was Benjamin Wallace.
That's right. So I want to get to one more topic before we get to these rankings. And I'm gonna actually this is one you suggested, Pete. So I'm actually gonna go to you first on this.
Okay.
Surprise player and team this year.
Ooh, my number one just off the jump is the same for both categories: Indiana Pacers and Victor Oladipo.
Yeah.
Just the way that he's been able to get out of Russia's shadow, so to speak, and really kind of push his game to the next level in this offseason. He's averaging almost 25 points a game, shooting 43% from 3. Which is phenomenal. And that's, on 6 attempts a game. And he's just efficient across the board. If you remember, he came in, Orlando tried to develop him as a point guard. And then he gets moved, goes to OKC, and obviously, kind of diminished role with Westbrook there. but just what he's been able to do to lead this Pacers team. Because honestly, I had the Pacers as a very bad team, maybe winning 33 games this year. And, it looks like that they're going to be a playoff team potentially. And Oladipo is definitely an all-star for the Eastern Conference.
You could argue he should be a starter.
Yeah. So that's mine.
Nice. What about you, Mike?
Almost the same. I actually have for a lot of the same reasons. I think he disappeared last year in OKC. There were times I forgot he was on the team. And I think Pete hit it right on the head. He got out of Russ's. He was in Russ's shadow, and I think playing with Russ helped and hurt him. It hurt him when he was there, but it helps him now that he can see like how hard Russ works. But also he's learning from Russ's mistakes. He's making better decisions in crunch time. He's making, he's the go-to guy with the game on the line. If he's not taking the shot, he's learning how to pass off and find the open man. And as far as the team, that is the most surprising. For me, it was a tie. And I know in the you guys were like, pick one. So I had to go with the Knicks simply because I had them being basement. I had them being 25, 30 wins tops because Porzingis is a stud. So let's just get that out the way. He's a stud. He's a unicorn. I believe Giannis, Porzingis, and Embiid will be the three-headed monster to carry the next generation forward because there's no one like them with that height, that type of skill set, that ability that's just so versatile. But more than anything, getting back to the Knicks is Michael Beasley's reemergence. All of these guys on the team stepping up in his Cantor's development. And I think they really – I don't know how they did it. I'm still trying to figure that out. But they look really good. They're a playoff team. They could very well be a 6 or a 5 or 6 seed, maybe a 7 at the least. They really emerged, and I know we weren't going to mention this, but there's some teams that are absolutely falling off the face of the earth, like Toronto. What is going on in Toronto?
No, they're not too bad. I mean, they're 21-8, so they're not bad.
Yeah, they're not terrible, but they're invisible again. It's like Vince Carter left the team again.
Damn.
I see where he's going.
Yeah.
No one cares of no one because nobody trusts them.
Yeah,
right.
They're fool's gold. It's fool's gold.
They're not going to do anything. So honestly, I could see, and the reason I brought up Toronto, I could see the Knicks playing Toronto in the first round, Toronto maybe being a 3 or 5 seed.
Yeah, we know the Raptors collapse in the in the playoffs.
If you can get game 1 on their home court, you got them.
True.
You got them. If there's one team in the league that needs home court, it's the Toronto Raptors. But not to stray too much away, I got to go with the Knicks for the most surprising team.
Nice. What about you, Gonzo? Surprising player and team so far.
I mean, Pete kind of took it from me. Victor Oladipo in the Indiana Pacers, period.
Gonzo said, I'm keeping it short and sweet. All right, I'm going to take this in a different direction. For me, the surprise player, Oladipo's been great. We didn't expect. I got to go Jarrett Jack. How good has he been for the Knicks? Yeah. This guy is a guy who came off of an Achilles injury. They signed him. What was it, September? They signed him. He's, you didn't know if he would make the team. He'd be their third point guard because they had Frank and Sessions and
non-guaranteed contract.
Yeah, exactly. And Ron Baker played a little point for him, so you didn't know what you're going to get out of old, injured Jarrett Jack, and he's been spectacular for him. So when they insert him in that starting lineup, that's when they really started to turn things around as far as winning and stuff.
He's able to facilitate and help the team rather than Sessions, who couldn't do anything. So yeah, it's actually really helped him.
Yes, and Frank played. Yeah, and Jarrett Jack, he can make shots. He can hit shots still, which Sessions we know can't do. Sessions not only can he not pass, he doesn't play defense, and he's a liability out there. That's why Frank's ahead of him. Frank can make an open three, and he's going to defend. So that's got to be my player. It's got to be Jarrett Jack. As far as team, I could have gone a bunch of different ways, but I know this is going to sound weird. I'm going to say the Houston Rockets. I didn't think they'd be this good.
Yeah.
I knew they would be good. I think I had them second or third, even but I didn't think they'd be this good. Most of us will probably agree we didn't know how the Harden Chris Paul pairing would work, and it's been perfect so far. So I got to go with the Rockets.
I mean,
even though they had a tough loss,
I had them at 57 wins. I mean, even then I was like, I don't know. But shout out to Kurt Lowe, who's always obviously he's the Rockets guy, and he called it 60 plus wins, and that they would be doing phenomenal. So, you could say biased or not biased, but
Byron called it too. Byron said they'd win. He said they'd be good.
Yeah,
Byron.
Shout out to Byron.
Now I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Who do you think? I mean, this is kind of a good segue for the next question. But who do you think needs to make a trade?
Oh, NBA wide as far as
yes. Because I'm looking at OKC.
Yeah, I was gonna say obviously OKC is one.
It's not working. Yeah. It's not working. I think two of them might have worked together, but they have too many guys that do the same thing. It's like you have three ball dominant guards. Well, Melo's a small forward, power forward, and the ball just stops. There's no ball movement. It's ISO.
You got two ISO players in Westbrook and Anthony, so
they don't even have off-ball movement when someone has the ball. Four guys stand.
Right.
And they have no shooters, no outside, no guys that can just stand out there and make knockdown shots. And the guy that should be able to do that is afraid to take a layup. And he's lucky he redeemed himself in that third overtime.
100%.
The other night.
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh my! I've never seen a guy in front of the goal afraid to attempt a layup. I've never seen that. Not even in Little League basketball.
Westbrook probably gave him that look, man. If you shoot that ball, wait till this game over.
Yeah. Like, man, if we lose this game,
better not shoot that. You better not. You better not
come to that locker room. You better go trade your ass to Philadelphia right now instead of coming back to this locker room.
And Pete wants fouled on it. A foul is a foul.
I don't want Roberson just so we can throw that out there.
Man,
you don't want Roberson?
No,
I don't want him.
I'll stick with Luau and his struggling shooting before I take Roberson. For me, two other teams that I would say need to. One, I would say they need to really, make a move. Is the Charlotte Hornets because they need to figure out, are they going to stick with Kemba Walker or are they going to, kind of go a different direction? Because why not get what you can right now for Kemba? Why you have, another team would have a season and a half potentially, and you can get some pieces back because they're stuck with Zeller, Dwight Howard, Nicholas Batum, all of those contracts, Marvin Williams, those contracts are not necessarily untradeable, but that's, they have no cap space, so they can't look at free agency. So they're going to be in mediocrity. Right now they're 11-20. And then the other team, now they've been hit with every injury under the sun, is the Miami Heat. They have too many guys like Tyler Johnson making a ton of money. So you've got to figure out, what identity you want going forward, because Waiters was great last year, but he's battling injuries this year. He's not putting up the same efficiency. Whiteside's been out for a majority of the year, so those guys there had a heck of a season last year, but to be 16-15 and obviously it's a long season to go, but they've got to figure out what they want to do, maybe come off a piece or two to try to see what they can move, whether it's Tyler Johnson or finally give up on Justice Winslow, because I don't think he's ever going to be what they thought. And ironically, they should have taken that big trade that was rumored that Boston was going to trade like 4 draft picks for Winslow. Like, imagine if that had happened, where Boston would be right now. And so, luckily Boston didn't do that. But
sometimes the best trades are the ones that aren't made.
I wish we would have been able to have Alana on here, because I was going to plan to bring up Miami just to see kind of what her thoughts were for them, but we could have that for another show. But that would be a team I would say they need to make some moves because they are potentially a 5 or 6 seed if they can turn it around. Hopefully coming off a piece or two and get healthy.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Gonzo? Any teams you think need to make a trade?
Honestly, at this point, I don't really think it matters because it's still going to be Cleveland and Golden State. So they can, you know, I'm one of those. I'm one of those type of people. If I think that the league was going to be competitive, I would say make as many trades as you can. But the way the league is now, it just looks like it's going to be Cleveland and Golden State until either Golden State decides to break stuff up or if LeBron decides to leave Cleveland next year. I mean, right now, those are
and then next year it'll be Golden State and whoever LeBron plays for, right?
And whoever LeBron plays for. But even in, I give Houston a chance though. I give them a chance at possibly playing Golden State.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I like the pace that they play. They can shoot threes with Golden State. And for some strange reason, when they play Golden State, they try to get a little scrappy. And I like that. I like the fight in them. I think they could.
I just worry about
I respect it.
I worry about Harden not showing up, again. Like after that abysmal last game for him last year.
True.
I don't know. I think they give the best challenge to Golden State because I think if Golden State plays Cleveland, I think it's a wrap. I think Cleveland's going to lose.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I want honestly, and I like Golden State. I'm not a Golden State homer by any means, but I think it's time for something different because this will be the 4th straight year that we have Golden State and Cleveland potentially. Like it's time to get some different teams, get other excitement in the league. You've got too many young stars in, the Sixers duo, Antetokounmpo, Porzingis, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, like too many of these young guys that are up and coming that need to push forward to challenge these other teams. Because Golden State doesn't have that much longer. Curry's 29? So
yeah.
I mean, you've got guys that are eventually going to get up there in age. They can't pay all of these guys all that money, so eventually they're going to have to move Clay probably.
Yeah.
So they probably only got 2 more seasons realistically, to be finals contenders, and that's probably fine for them. But at the end of the day, I want to see parity across the league.
And I think we're going to start seeing that more.
I hope.
I think the one thing that's with Golden State, and I've been quietly saying this to a few of my friends, is that, like you said, Golden State, their days are numbered.
Right.
I think the same thing with Cleveland, because if LeBron leaves, Cleveland is done.
Right.
I completely agree with you guys. For the next 2 years, it's Golden State and whoever LeBron plays for. One thing I have noticed about Golden State this year, the injuries are starting to pile up.
Yep.
And I think it's simply because of mileage. And we've all seen this before. You guys, everyone in this group has watched basketball for 20 plus years, what I'm saying, our entire lives. Not to put everybody on blast, but for a long time. We've seen dynasties rise and fall, and not necessarily because they can't play anymore, just because they went deep in the playoffs. I mean, this will be Golden State's 4th straight year going to the finals. That's like an extra season and a half. And then LeBron, I don't know how LeBron does this. I don't know how he goes so deep in the playoffs and can come back. Like, honestly, I'm not even mad at him resting in the season anymore. Like, I understand fans want to see him. They pay this money. That's the reason they bought this game. I'd say if he has to rest, don't rest on road games. But other than that, get your rest, man, because whatever he's doing to keep getting to the finals is working. However, you can't be Father Time forever. You can only postpone it. And I feel like Golden State is going to start to have nagging injuries, and that could be their downfall, kind of like the Lakers and the Celtics in the 80s. And you really didn't see it with the Bulls. I mean, you saw old age and a little slippage in the final three-peat, but you didn't see like them fall off a cliff because somebody got hurt and it was like, oh, they can't play. Like they have no chance now. But we've seen a lot of dynasties go like that. And I think, and then you have the cap coming up. You have, you got to re-sign Clay. You gave Curry his money. I think Durant might leave and try to go back to OKC like LeBron did to Cleveland. So you got.
I don't think he wants any part of Russell Westbrook again. Like, I give him all the credit in the world for putting up with that. Because, man, now we get to see, like, everybody burned Durant and said, oh, he's crap for going, coward going to Golden State. But now you can actually respect, like, man, he was able to do that with this kind of player on his team.
Yes.
Like, because you're looking at Anthony's had the worst year of his career basically this year. Paul George looks a shell of himself like, man, get me the hell out of here. Like, this isn't what I signed up for. And you're going to end up seeing Billy Donovan replaced as the coach, I guarantee you.
Yes.
And so then it's like you're left on Westbrook Island. And who realistically around the league is going to go running to OKC saying, I want to play with Westbrook, knowing that they're never going to get the ball?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, real quick, Orlando Till says Clippers got to trade DeAndre Jordan. Now, the rumor came out, Steve Kyler of Basketball Insider said that the potential package that the Cavaliers could offer is Tristan Thompson, Amon Shumpert, and their own Cleveland's first-round pick. Is that enough to get DeAndre?
Ooh. It depends on how desperately the Clippers want to get rid of him and what else they can get from another team.
Yeah, I mean,
what's his market? I mean, what's the market value for him?
I mean, you got to at least if you're the Clippers, you got to at least get a first rounder because they don't have one. So you at least got to get a first rounder back. You need a young, up and coming star, and you probably need a shooter off the bench. That would be my criteria if I was the Clippers, to try to get something there. I don't know. I don't know to be honest, I don't know how well DeAndre would fit as far as the Cavaliers go because he's not an offensive threat there. And, potentially with Isaiah coming back, it might be a little bit much to have DeAndre kind of in the lineup, honestly, for, his game. And then especially at the end of games, not being able to hit free throws. I don't know. But then around the league, I mean, you look at teams and where exactly would DeAndre kind of fit in, and make an impact? Like Houston's
Milwaukee.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Milwaukee, then you're hindering Thon McCurr, at the center spot.
It's true.
And so I don't know that you necessarily do that either. Like if you're, I don't know that Dallas could come up with a package, but if you're not that sold on Nerlens Noel moving forward, do you kind of go after DeAndre? I know they got obviously, burned, before, but if there's interest there, why not go after it? Or a team like Washington, could they put a package together? Because Wall, Beal, and DeAndre Jordan with Otto Porter mixed in there. I mean, that's pretty decent.
You'd probably have to give up Kelly Oubre, wouldn't you?
I would ask for Kelly Oubre, absolutely. But, I mean, you're either win now because in Washington, going forward, like you're against the cap again. You're like the Clippers. You're against like the Hornets. I mean, you're against the cap on kind of what you could do, and you've got all this money coming to John Wall with the extension as well. So it's like this is where you are right now as a mediocre team. They're 17-14, and yes, John Wall missed some games, but you've got to mix it up. Like Marcin Gortat hasn't played as well as he did last season, so that's an option there. The Raptors maybe even. Because Valanciunas is kind of, hit or miss. They need something different because all it's going to be is the Lowry DeRozan ISO show. And we know that predictability. We know that outcome come playoff time. A team like the Spurs could always come in. They're sneaky. They like to come in and, kind of get different talent. And we know what Popovich has been able to do with other reclamation projects, and you put DeAndre as a rebounder there. I don't know that it necessarily fits great with Aldridge, but that could be an option. But other than that, who really around the league needs DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, his skill set is kind of limited in this current NBA simply because he's a big man who, I mean, he's a great defender. He's a rim protector, rebounder, all of that stuff. Offensive end, he's quite limited. He gets lobs and putbacks. He really doesn't have post moves or command the ball. And free throw line, let's not even talk about that. That's a conversation in itself. So I think he has a lot of pluses, but I think his pluses slightly balance out his deficiencies. Like if his deficiencies are 48%, his pluses are 52% or 60-40, something like that. Right. It's very close. And he's not a Porzingis. He's not a Giannis. He's not, an Embiid where he can get the ball and he can do something with it. He can find the open man. He's very limited. Right. And then the hacker whatever.
Hacker DeAndre.
Yeah, it's worthless. I mean, teams got to make trades. I think a lot of teams, like Gonzo said, it's Cavaliers and Warriors, but some teams right now, their futures are.
Yeah, you got to set yourself up with the cap being the way it is for this year coming into free agency. You've got to do something, to kind of mix it up, for teams to be competitive, because there's going to be a lot of guys that coming in this free agency that are going to be sitting at home. Yes. At the end of the summer, like, man, wait, I thought I was getting a contract, and
or they're not getting as big as a contract as they thought they were going to get.
Like Nerlens Noel passed up, what was it, 4 years, $70 million? Like, dude, you should have been all over that.
Yeah,
you're limited in yourself.
Yeah,
but just wanted to throw that out there. Matt, are we going to go ahead and wrap up rankings?
We'll do our MVP rankings on our top 5 teams, and then we'll get out of here because I know it's getting late. We'll start with MVPs. I'm going to go to you, Pete. How do you go 5-1? How you have your MVP race so far?
5-1. I'd have to say 5 Antetokounmpo. I would say 4 would be Kyrie Irving. 3 would be Durant. 2 LeBron, and 1 James Harden.
Nice. What about you, Mike?
Going 5-1. I got John Wall. I got Kyrie. I got LeBron. I have Giannis and James Harden.
Nice. He's got Giannis at 2. All right, mine. I've got Kyrie at 5. Yep. At 4, I've got Kevin Durant. I got Giannis Antetokounmpo at 3, LeBron 2, and James Harden 1. I think everybody's going to have Harden 1, unless you're Nick Wright or Shannon Sharp or Colin
Westbrook
Howard.
Fan. Somehow you fit Westbrook in there in the discussion.
Westbrook's number 1. Yeah, he's the MVP, right, Pete?
Yeah.
That's right, because he's got 11 triple doubles this year.
Yeah,
he's damn near averaging triple double again. Let's give him the
most
MVP.
volatile player.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, before we get to Gonzo, one thing I'll say about Russ.
Gonzo he had to go.
Yeah, he had to cut out for work. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll say this about Russ. And Jeff Van Gundy has the best quote on Russell Westbrook. He is the best player in the league for the first 46 minutes of the game.
Perfect.
And that last 2 minutes is like decision making. Like, dude, why
That's
are you
perfect.
Why
analysis.
Are you going away from Melo? He's hot. Why are you giving it to Paul George now and then taking it away from him? So yeah.
Why'd you pass it to Steven Adams at the 3-point line?
Yes.
I don't know if he's done that, but decision making. All right,
it's not good. Like it's not.
No, not at all. All right, last topic of the day. We'll rank our top 5 teams right now, 5-1. Who do you got, Mike?
I got Milwaukee. I got Boston. I have Golden State, Houston, and Cleveland.
Nice.
Interesting with Milwaukee in there.
Yeah.
I think Giannis, the way he's carrying that team, he's galvanized that team. And they got Middleton back. They're about to get Jabari Parker back. I mean, he's down in the G League now. So come the home stretch, he could probably be back on the team. I think they're a 4 seed in the East, maybe a 3 with the way the East is looking. Toronto, they're doing pretty good under the radar, but we don't trust them. And Giannis he's I mean, he leads the team in scoring, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. Like, the guy is amazing. That's why he's, number 2 on my list, simply because Harden is still doing his thing. But wow.
Mm-hmm.
I think Milwaukee is a dark horse in the East. They could actually make the conference finals.
See, I'm the opposite.
I actually think Milwaukee could make the conference final.
See, I'm the opposite.
Depending on the matchups.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I'm going to say that they have no bench.
Yeah. They got Brogdon.
Yeah, but
and McCurr.
Yeah, McCurr has struggled bad.
Mm-hmm.
Brogdon will come down to earth. And they're missing Teletovic. His career is probably likely over.
What about Dellavedova?
I'm not counting on Dellavedova for.
Yeah, Delly.
I mean, you got potentially if Parker comes back, that's going to be a big help. If he's the Jabari Parker he was before he got hurt last year, then Milwaukee's going to give some problems. I just think that. The people were saying, oh, they could win 48 games. And like you guys said, conference finals potentially. I think it's a year, maybe 2 years too early for them.
Yeah.
Because I think that, number one, Jason Kidd's decision-making is going to hinder them in a certain sense, like his lineups and things like that. Not that Curry's a bad coach, but just that I think that he makes, some questionable decisions there. And I think their depth is what's going to hurt them to get further in, into the playoffs this year. But, that's just my thought.
All right. How are your rankings looking?
I've got Toronto 5. Let's go with, this one's a tough one. Toronto 5. I'll go Boston 4, Golden State 3, Cavs 2, and Rockets 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I've got the Spurs 5, Celtics 4. I've got who did I have at 3? Now it's just lost. It just
Cavs.
Yeah, the Cavs 3. I got the Rockets 2, and I've got Golden State 1.
Oh.
If ever there was someone as close to a Golden State homer, it would be me.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, they've won 10. They've won 10 in a row. They're only a game back in the loss column of the Rockets. And they're doing this without Curry. They had Durant. Like right now, no Draymond Green, no Curry. We won't count Zaza Pacheep shot, as Skip Bayless calls him. So I'm impressed with what they're doing. I mean, they're still the best team in the league.
They still are, and I'm just I don't wish any illness or any injuries on them, but I just think they're due for it, just simply because of all the mileage, and I think they're doing good resting now and sitting out. But I think they could be an ankle tweak or a knee sprain away from a conference finals defeat, just because of all the games they played, not because they're fragile. I just feel like it could catch up to them just playing all those games.
If ever there was a year to get 2 brand new teams in the finals, this actually could be the year.
Yeah,
I think so.
Like someone could stun Cleveland out. It's not a guarantee they're going to make it.
Yeah, I mean,
even if everybody's
Boston could get there. Like,
yeah,
even without Hayward, like wouldn't it be kind of cool to see, Houston versus Boston?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, all right, we got these same 2 teams again.
Or hey, we could get something like a Boston Philly conference final. It could happen.
Philly is not getting to the conference finals. I am a Sixers fan, and Matt, I'm sorry.
Hey,
I know
I want to see
we have gone back and forth, but I think you're 2 years too early.
I'm with Stacey King. I'm with Stacey King. I'm with him. They can beat anybody out east except Cleveland.
I will say this about the East. The East is, and I said this to Byron, I got a prediction for the East. Pending whatever LeBron does, over the next 4 to 5 years, it's going to be Boston, Philly, and Milwaukee. Those are going to be the 3 power teams in the Eastern Conference for the next 4 years. Obviously, Boston is there. They just need Gordon to come back. Maybe add a piece or two here on the defensive end. More shooters.
Yep.
But I think Boston is there.
And LeBron will take his talents to Philly.
I don't think he's going to Philly.
I don't.
This is the one thing I'm going to say about LeBron. He's a very smart dude. I don't think he goes west to go with the Lakers. If he goes west, he comes to Houston. That's the one that makes the most sense.
Because he's friends.
And not only has Houston got a squad, they have shooters, they defend, they pass. It's his type of system. Plus, he wants to play one season with the Banana Boat brothers. So him coming down playing with CP3.
Melo can terminate his contract.
Yeah, Wade's a free agent, isn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah. And they'll all go to Houston.
Exactly. He could play for like the veteran minimum or whatever. He doesn't.
What they'll do is they'll all go to New York and go play with Porzingis.
No.
Back to New York with LeBron and Wade.
I don't think they'll go to New York. I think LeBron is where he's at in his career. He wants to compete every year. He wants to have a chance to win every year. And if he can't do it in Cleveland, outside of going to Boston, which would be weird, the Rockets make the most sense. He's not going to go to Golden State.
The Rockets in Cleveland have had the first and second easiest schedule so far this season.
Yeah.
Philly having the toughest schedule so far this season.
And that's one thing with Philly struggling. That's one thing they have had the tough, so their schedule is going to get easier.
But Embiid is the key component. If they don't get him back to full strength, they're not making the playoffs.
No, they're not going to make it without him.
I think he has to get back to full strength, conditioning. I mean, I saw in that 3 overtime game, which was amazing. I think the coach could have done a better job of subbing in and out or taking some timeouts here and there because he looked winded. I mean, everyone out there looked a little winded, but Embiid more than any point, he looked winded. I mean, he played damn near 50 minutes.
And he's also got about 20 pounds more than he's had in the past on him.
Exactly.
So that doesn't help either. And then having the knee, the back, those nagging injuries, all play a factor.
Yeah, I think there'll be a playoff team in the East just because there's like 4 really good teams in the East, and everyone else is, I can see the Knicks, Sixers sticking in there. I mean, the only reason I think the Bucks could make the conference finals, and I'm not saying this because I think they're better than Boston. I think their matchup with Boston could cause some issues because they're really tall, they're long, They play the passing lane. Boston doesn't really have a lot of height. They have a lot of shooters, a lot of smaller players, and I think that could be a tough series. Obviously, I think Boston and Cleveland are the favorites, and that would be an amazing grudge match, not only a rematch from last year's, season rivals, but Kyrie versus LeBron. And I want to see Houston Golden State in a 7-game series. I just want to see that so bad.
Yes. Outstanding stuff, fellas. I think that's going to wrap us up
we
tonight.
Went a long show.
It is getting, and I know it's getting late. I myself am actually getting tired. I know you're tired, Pete.
We gave everybody a holiday. Basically once you open up your gifts and stuff like that, just sitting around, you can watch the video cast and hear all our ramblings and stuff like that. So. But I just want to say, Merry Christmas to you guys, of course, and Merry Christmas, everybody out there that's watching. Thanks to everybody in the chat room for tuning in. And Matt, I know you're going to be on the Sim Hangout tomorrow, but I will be tuning in as always. But I want to give a special shout out to Big Mama and Czar. For always supporting us and what we're doing, because Big Mom is always nice enough to tweet out, the links ahead of time for the show and just getting Sim Nation behind us. And then both Big Mom and Czar, just for, of course, if Matt and I had never met each other, then, Mike, you and I would have not known each other. And then on and on and on.
It all goes circles around back to Czar.
Yep.
I got to second all your thoughts, Pete. Yeah. Because without Czar and Big Mama, none of us would be here.
Right. And just everybody out there that's supported the show. I know I went MIA for a while, having the little one and, some stuff going on, behind the scenes, I haven't been able to do this very much, but, appreciate everybody tuning in. Matt, you're obviously killing it, doing the shows and stuff and skills to you, man. Just have it, being back on with you has been really good, man. Cause it's been a good minute.
It's been a good minute. I appreciate you guys inviting me back on, and more than anything, I want to not only shout out you guys, but shout out everyone that supported you guys and the listeners, the people that subscribe and tweet out the links, because you guys have really turned this show into something amazing. And so every time I see the new shows pop up on my feed or I see the tweets, I get excited because I saw you guys in the beginning. And not only do I like, talking to you guys, but you guys are inspiring for anyone out there that wants to start something up. So I got to give you guys props on that. Merry Christmas to everyone. Yep. We'll see you at Christmas. We'll maybe talk after that, have a recap.
Yeah, we got to do a recap of the Christmas schedule. Maybe, later that week, maybe that Thursday or something, because it'll start back up. I think games start up, what is that, Monday? So games start up on Tuesday or Wednesday, somewhere in that week if we can fit it in.
We'll come back. We won't ever do it on Fridays.
Yeah, no, not on Fridays.
Give me a shout. If I can make it, I'm there.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm out of here.
All right,
Mike's out too.
Hey, real quick, Byron, I'm holding your feet to the fire, man, because we got to get you on one of these coming up. I know I've been hitting Matt up saying we got to get Byron, so I can be on one soon. But man, I need
nothing but the comedy hour.
I need to get you back on we need to do one together, man, because I need all your Golden State hate, so that way I can have a defense for it, and we can have a good debate. So, and Gonzo, I know you had to go, man, but Merry Christmas to you and your family too. So
yes, I second everything Pete said. Merry Christmas to everyone. If we forgot if we didn't say your name, it happens to the best of us. It's very late.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up. We're tired as hell.
I know Pete.
I've been up since 7 a.m. yesterday.
Oh yeah,
so,
that's gonna wrap us up.
Yep. We'll catch you guys. Happy holidays to everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Yes.